Oh, there you are, YouTube. Well, we finally did it. We watched every single one of Keanu Reeves' films, his entire filmography. Except for one. There's one documentary that I haven't seen, my wife has, but I don't know. I didn't even think to include it in this Keanu Reeves marathon, so I may watch it later. But we also did not watch, like, if he was on a, like, television show. We did watch TV movies, but not, like, just an episode of some TV show. We didn't do any shorts either, but all feature-length films, TV, movies, and theatrical, we watched them. We watched them all. Even if we had already seen them, we rewatched them for this marathon. And we conclude this marathon with his directorial debut, a film in which he also stars, The Man of Tai Chi. The Man of Tai Chi was a first-time watch for both me and my wife, and for a first-time director, I would say this was a pretty good movie. The Man of Tai Chi could be boiled down in simplest, archetypal storytelling narratives, as you have sort of this pure character who has an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other, each one sort of tugging him in one direction. He's, sort of living in the middle but leaning pure. The angel on his shoulder would be his Tai Chi master. He's learning Tai Chi. And over here we have Keanu Reeves, who wants him to fight for money and eventually blood, and wanting him to kill in these underground fights. So you have like this pure Tai Chi martial arts happening over here, and the master's basically saying you gotta meditate, you gotta keep yourself in check, or else you can fall on this other side. And Keanu's like, yes, fall on this other side, fight for me, kill these people. I have this great narrative to give the super wealthy, where you were this pure, innocent person, and then you have turned into a bloodthirsty killer, and I'm going to sell that to all of these super rich people. And this sort of archetypal storytelling also comes with, some visual cues. You have Tiger Chen, the main character, and his master is wearing white, so it sort of has that Western vibe of the white hat versus the black hat. And then you have Keanu Reeves, sort of the devil on the shoulder, who's always wearing black. He kind of looks like a blend. Actually, sometimes he wears gray, but he sort of looks like a blend, or it's kind of like a silver sort of thing. But he sort of is like a combo, like visually, of Neo and John Wick, which is kind of cool. But yeah, he's pretty menacing in here. It's kind of weird to end this marathon with a very mean, cruel, evil Keanu Reeves, because we're just so used to seeing him in life anyway as this great person. And some of these later movies that we've watched, he's been absolutely lovely as well. So this is a weird way to end this marathon. Now, I don't know anything about Tai Chi, but it seems like it's sort of understood as more like exercise rather than a fighting style. So that's sort of like what the master is, trying to keep within Tiger. Just say, hey, this is not meant for fighting here. You gotta keep meditating. And then Keanu is interested in the fact that he's turning it into sort of a fighting style, sort of weaponizing Tai Chi, and that really interests Keanu's character, and he wants to put that in underground fighting again, to sort of create this narrative of, look at this good guy over here and what we've turned him into. Isn't this great? Isn't this a unique story? Isn't this fantastic? So again, you have this great pull between good and evil, and then again that really good representation that you see in westerns all the time with the white hat and black hat, and you're seeing that here in their outfits. It's just, I really like how boil downable it is into just, this is pure archetypal storytelling. This is stuff we can all get. This is great. And back to Tai Chi, again, I don't know anything really about it, but in the movie, we get some sort of supernatural elements to it as well, but we only see that twice in the movie. There's a part where basically Tiger, the main character, is sort of, getting possessed by, and they use that word, sort of by Keanu and what he's presenting to him. So he goes and fights his master, and he is, very aggressive. His master is, keeping up with him and, gonna win, I guess, this match. And then he performs this like final move where he like shoves his palm in front of him. It's like very like almost Jedi like, and but he makes no contact, right? And then Tiger just like falls backwards, flies backwards. It's, you know, looks very supernatural. And then he has this huge like bruise of a palm on his chest, and that was really cool to see too, because you weren't necessarily sure if this was going to go that direction. And then when it did, it was like, okay, so that added another layer also, sort of turning it a little maybe like fantastical, supernatural, which is really cool. And then we see that again later in a final battle, which was fantastic. So Keanu has him fighting all of these, you know, amazing fighters, and he's keeping up. There's even a point when he's fighting two people at once, and when that happens, I think that was edited. That scene was edited. That choreography or whatever was done very well, because a lot of times when one person is fighting multiple people in a movie, you sort of see the extra fighters just sort of waiting. They're just like, you know, like bouncing around waiting to be next. And this was, I mean, you could maybe tell a little bit, but it almost looked more like prep to fight rather than I'm just waiting for my turn. And I thought that was great. So choreography and editing, I think, helped out a lot with that. Just the choreography for all the fights. There are so many fights in this, and I think each one of them are engaging, because each person he fights, Tiger fights, has a very different style and response to the way, you know, they are handling his Tai Chi. So if you're into that, definitely watch. I would say I'm not well versed in martial arts films. For me, it was sort of like the, you know, surfer ninja type stuff from the 90s, like Ninja Turtles, Surf Ninjas, Three Ninjas, stuff like that. That's all. That's what I know. My stepdad was really into martial arts films, so he introduced me to some, but I never really took to it as much as I did westerns, which he also sort of introduced me to. But I did really like this movie, and I wish I could have watched it with him, because I think he would have loved it as well. But it's a genre I'm not well versed in, so I'm definitely not a pro on commentating on it or anything. But I enjoyed what I saw on screen here. It was, I think, choreographed very well and edited very well. And I believe, my wife was telling me this, she was doing some reading on the movie, that Tiger, the main character, was a stunt choreographer. Maybe I could be wrong on that, but something with stunts, maybe fighting choreography with the Matrix films, even a John Wick film perhaps, and then just, you know, other films that are made as well. So I think that could be the connection with how Keanu and Tiger got together for this film. So I'm guessing, you know, Keanu knew him from those movies and then hired him for this. But I just bounced around a little bit. Let me get back to the end. So he's fighting all of these people, and then Keanu wants him to kill somebody, and he's like, I don't kill, I just, you know, beat up. I just do that. And he's like, you owe me a life. And then basically, you know, the cops show up at this fight or whatever, and then Keanu, you know, gets away. Everybody gets away. The underground fighting is, you know, disbanded, though, it seems like. But then at the very, very end, Keanu shows up to his Tai Chi temple, right? To Tiger's Tai Chi temple to fight him. And he's like, you owe me a life. But the way in which Keanu is heading towards Tiger to go fight him is so foreboding, so scary. He is not Keanu we know ever. I feel like I've never seen him more different. He looks so tall, so strong, so Michael Myers, so Jason Voorhees. He's a juggernaut. Nothing's going to stop him from killing Tiger when you're looking at him. He is a completely different person than we've ever seen before. And I think, like, the walking he is doing to this temple is some of the best acting he's ever done. And it's, you know, we're not hearing it. I think it's scored over. But looking at him, the way he is shot, he looks massive, like the Undertaker. Like, he just looks so big and scary. I couldn't believe it. I was just sort of like, what? That's Keanu?
That's Keanu?
He looks terrifying. So that moment there, I think, is seared in my head forever, seeing him walking towards Tiger, walking towards that temple, just ready to kill him. And that fight is really awesome too, because it does have sort of, I mean, it's martial arts, but I feel like we're also seeing like some, again, I keep like going back to Undertaker, like we're seeing some like WWE, WWF type stuff in it. And I could be wrong, but I don't know. It was just reminding me of that a little bit. Again, I'm limited when it comes to knowing what fighting is like. And just some of the kicks he was doing, Keanu was doing towards Tiger, just made me think of The Undertaker's super long leg, just like stretched out, kicking people. It was a great fight. And there are parts where you see, you know, Keanu just like acting crazy, like screaming. And they're kind of quick, but it just sort of adds to that devil on the shoulder sort of thing. And there was a great moment earlier in the film when you see Keanu sort of screaming at the camera, almost breaking the fourth wall, and Tiger's master sort of, you know, we're sort of like parallel editing back and forth between the two, and it was sort of then when it was like, wow, this is, you know, great. We are seeing the angel and the devil on Tiger's shoulders. This is so great. So anyway, that end fight, Keanu was somebody completely different than I had ever seen him before, and it was fantastic. It was great. So I recommend this movie. I don't know if everybody would like it. You know, it does feel a little first-time director, but I feel like it's a good first-time director movie. And if you like martial arts films, which I feel like I like them when I watch them, but again, it's something I'm not well versed in. You know, I'm not a pro at that. My experience is just the kids stuff from the 90s, you know, the ninja stuff. So I don't know a lot about this. I wish, again, I could have watched this with my stepdad, because I think he would have really enjoyed it. When did this come out? I don't know when it came out. Maybe he had a chance to see it. Maybe it came out after he passed. But man, I just would have a lot of fun watching this with him. And I gotta recommend it. The more, just sitting here talking about it has made me love it even more than when I watched it. I think it's definitely worth a watch if you're into that sort of thing. If you're into martial arts films, if you're into Keanu, I think you could dig this. If you are into like sort of Fight Club, underground fighting, police trying to infiltrate that, all of that is what this movie's about. So give it a check. Add it to your watch list. I think it's worth it. And I can't believe we have completed the Keanu marathon. We watched them all. And another funny thing about that is I know from here on out, if Keanu makes a movie, I'm going to watch it. I will have his entire filmography under my belt. And I think that is a cool thing. And it all started, if you remember, if you were following along, it all started because my wife and I were like, let's watch all of Sandra Bullock's movies. And then we watched Speed, and my wife was like, I just fell in love with Keanu Reeves. He did something in Speed where he like flexed his arm or something, and I think she saw that muscle, the one that is not visible on me. Why don't I have it? There it is, right there, like that one. His arm did something, and she was like, we're turning this into a Keanu Reeves marathon, by the way. And I was like, that's cool, I love him. So yeah, then we watched The Lake House. You know, adorable. And then it just continued, and we made sure to watch every single movie, and we finished today with his directorial debut, The Man of Tai Chi, a movie worth checking out. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end this. I can't believe the Keanu Reeves marathon is over. I'm sure we're going to go back and, you know, watch more, and, you know, go back and rewatch a lot of these. And of course, we are going to move forward and watch everything he puts out in the future. So yeah, perhaps I'll see you tomorrow for more Pure Hangout.